Welcome back to the Triple O Podcast. Ang podcast na ito ay para sa mga Noypi sa buong mundo na may sariling opinyon. Our own opinion, the Triple O Podcast. Sa ating mga listeners, kamusta kayo dyan? I hope you guys are being safe during this pandemic time. I know it's really depressing and being isolated is not good for your mental health. So I hope you guys are, hopefully this podcast can help you guys with a little bit of entertainment, knowledge, and information. You guys are keeping yourself busy at the same time. Guys, stick around the end of the podcast. We have the question and answer portion. And so let's start off today with the news. Okay, so kwento ko muna. So here in Vancouver, Canada, we just had our election. So it was good kasi para bang sa anong tawag na nito, yung bang pagtataya ka, alam mong mananalo yung tatayaan mo. So yung party na gusto kong i-vote, it was I had a feeling they were going to win. So I wanted to vote ng early, but I got busy. So na-miss ko yung early voting, and then I said we're gonna do it na lang sa day of the vote. But then it was my first time to go fish for salmon, and it was my first time to catch one, and I was so happy. And it was so windy here right now and cold kasi fall na. So I got home, I got tired, just rested. And that evening, we went to my in-laws for my wife. So hindi kami naka-vote. Nakalimutan namin when we got there. So it was like sayang, really sayang na could have voted. But while we were there, it was fun because we were watching yung election results while they were counting it. So for those who want to know, anyways, election BC, NDP won the majority government. They have, as of now, hindi pa tapos yung counting. So, but for now, NDP has 55 seats. They only needed 44 for a majority government, but 55 is pretty good. Liberals won 29 seats. Green Party won 3. And I don't know what happened to the Conservative Party. They used to be here, but they just nawala sila parang bula. Green Party, it's good. Like, dumadami na yung kanilang seat almost every election. I remember when I first came here, Green Party only had one seat, and it was their leader. I forgot her name, but the year or a couple of years later, or a few years later, kung kailan man yung sumunod na election, they won 2 seats. And then this year, 2020, they won 3 seats. So, good for them. They're slowly and increasing their seat numbers. But you know what? Green Party was really important during the 2017 election because split ata yung, I remember split yung number of seats for the majority and minority government dito sa BC. And so what happened was the Green Party sided with the NDP. So it was such a big win for the NDP. And at the same time, this year, they got re-elected to become the majority government again for BC. So hopefully, because you know what, guys, me and my wife are in healthcare. So it was important for us to get that healthcare help from a government that supports us, and at the same time, the people in time of this pandemic, right? So I guess that's why they won big time, like 55 seats compared to 44. I mean, hindi pa tapos lahat ng ballot, right? Especially those did the one tawag nito, yung envelope, the mail-in vote. So that's gonna take a while. But then with 55 seats, basically, even if the Liberals won like 2 or 3 after those, it's still a majority government for NDP. So, talking about elections, those listeners in the United States, you guys are going to have your own. Kailan ba yung sa kanila? November 3. November 3, you guys are gonna vote. Guys, voting, I would say, is important. By definition, actually, is what is voting? Voting is a formal expression of opinion or your choice. Of your choice or your choice, whatever. Right? It's important that we all vote kasi, back in the day, only like nobles or highly educated people were able to vote. And then, ano ba nangyari? Like, suddenly, I wouldn't say suddenly, pero eventually, the public were able to vote, but only the men in the beginning, right? And not everybody. Maybe native people, people who were considered immigrants were not allowed to vote yet. So, and then, kailan ba yun? The women's suffrage, right? Also didn't come into place until, kailan ba? In Canada, it was about 1917 to 1920. It was mixed, right? And then eventually in 1960, the Aboriginal people were able to vote. Isn't that, kind of like weird, right? And in the US, in the 1920s, it was like just after Canada, partial states were able to vote. Women, we're talking about women. And then about 1965, full on voting for women. In the Philippines, it was about 1937. So, you guys, the voting is very important because you gotta understand what voting is. It is your right to vote, right? And it's your right to be heard. It's your right to choose, and it's your right to exercise. So, guys, for those people who haven't voted or are going to vote in the States, November 3, please don't forget to vote. It is important for you. You guys, whoever is voting is the one who's deciding what you want for your future, right? So, guys, go vote. Same thing with the Philippines. Kailan ba ang Philippines? So, Philippines naman will be May 2022. So, para sa atin, hopefully, you guys be smart in voting. Especially sa Philippines, Duterte, whatever your opinion is or your feeling towards him, I believe he has done a much better job than most of our previous presidents. So, guys, keep up electing good and honest politicians. Like Isko Moreno. Except that Robredo is like the useless person. Yung vice president ng Philippines, I don't know what she's doing, man. You could have different opinions, right? We all do. And the thing is, at least with President Duterte, you get results. For me, at the end of the day, everybody in the government corrupts, right? But what I want is that when you guys corrupt, at least give back what the people needs. Kung parang parang mga bata, like nagnanakaw yung mga bata, piso-piso lang. Pero, like something gets done naman, sana. And di lang yung hindi tapos or yung hindi man lang useful yung ginawa nyo sa taong bayan. And I would I would suggest sana naman yung just the basic necessity is to be completed in a high standard. Isipin mo, roads. Most roads in the Philippines, like, hindi nakaayos. Water. Tubig. Clean water, hindi may provide sa bayan. Right? Electricity, the same thing. Wala man lang safety kung paano padaanin yung kuryente sa Pilipinas. So, vote these people that would provide you with your basic necessity, healthcare, education, work, job, right? So, get those people that would give that to you correctly. Hindi yung nagbibigay lang sa inyo ng, 500 dito, 500 dyan. And then what? Yung 500 nyo, gaano katagal yun sa bulsa nyo? Tapos yung uupo dyan sa position ng office sa government, taon-taon silang nangungurakot. At hindi lang hundreds ang kukunin nila. Libo-libo, milyon-milyon, bilyon-bilyon. Depende kung ano yung kontrata na mananakaw nila. So, it is our job, right, as the citizen of our countries to vote these people in power that would govern our country in the right way towards a better, much better future. Now, let's talk about that. How about this? We'll make a poll sa Facebook. Here's the thing. If you don't vote, you don't have the right to complain, right? But is it really true? Or if you vote, you're the one who don't have the right to complain. So again, ulitin ko. If you don't vote, you don't have the right to complain. Or if you vote, you're the one who don't have the right to complain. Kasi ang joke dito is that if you vote and elected a dishonest, corrupt politician, you are the one responsible for that person being in office. Now, so your guys' opinion, would you like to be heard? We'll put it in the as a poll in Facebook page, and you guys make your own decision there. Vote for it. Exercise your vote. So let's do a vote about this voting thing. All right, on to a different news. I just learned Dr. Dre got divorced. OMG. My goodness, man. I feel for you, Dr. Dre. I wouldn't say I feel for you, but I said it by mistake. No, I just feel sad. Like, you would think a person like Dr. Dre with all his money, I mean, I don't think he's the perfect person. I mean, nobody is a perfect person. Pero I think they've been, together for like 20-something years. And, oh man, like, they're old to say that they're gonna go date now and find somebody else to be with. It's just stupid. That's why I don't understand divorce in their later years. I don't know, man. I have nothing to say, but that's my own opinion. I may not know the entirety of it. I don't know their story, but apparently also he won. The judge denied the wife Nicole 1.5 million for the spousal support. So good for Dr. Dre, I guess. I'm not saying the wife doesn't deserve anything, pero at the same time, some people, I think, deserve whatever it is that they made, working hard. So I don't think the other half should be. It's kind of hard to say naman that they shouldn't get anything, pero if you know that, especially with Dr. Dre, like, he's got like billions and billions of money, and obviously he can basically support like 5 wives, I think. Pero at the same time, I don't think it's fair at the same time na you work so hard, and I don't know what their true story. Pero if in general, if you are in a marriage, when you work so hard, you're the one who's making money, and then suddenly the other half says, bye-bye, I'll take half of yours. It's basically unfair, right? So I hope it's not the true case for Dr. Dre. Um, so yeah, let's see. Philippines. You guys, merong bagyong darating, I think, by November. It's a tropical storm right now, pero magiging daw siyang typhoon. So, guys, brace yourselves. I know Taal volcano was erupting again or so, and at the same time, merong bagyo dyan, right? So, um, I know Philippines is basically a typhoon island. So, always brace yourselves. I remember being there. I like na may bagyo during pasukan kasi walang pasok. At malamig, it's like, ooh, cool, I get to wear a sweater. But at the same time, it's not really safe for everybody. Yeah, you know what? That's my thing too. Sa Philippines, pag panahon ng tagwalan, bagyo, nagbabaha. Kung tutusin, actually, if only the government, your local engineers are able to clean yung ating yung drainage system. I wouldn't say monthly, but maybe just before ng bagyo season or during bagyo season, they should be cleaning it up, or at least at the same time, provide garbage outside the streets para yung mga tao hindi lang sila basta-basta nagtatapon sa labas. Like those simple things that the government, your local government can provide, it shouldn't be hard, man. How much is it to, make garbage can outside? And then how much is it to have people clean the drainage, during a year, like maybe in a year, maybe 3 times, 4 times a year, they clean out the drainage, and have it open para pag umuulan, kahit na baha, sabihin na natin talagang malakas ang baha sa Philippines, pero not so much yung bang taas ng tubig, diba? Sabihin natin malakas talaga ulan, pero hindi, at least hindi ganun kataas yung baha na makikita mo, or titigil ang buhay mo basically kung hindi ka makalabas dahil sa baha, right? And it's not good, it's not safe. So anyways, today, like I said last time, we're going to be talking about why OFWs come home broke. Now, ang tawag na nito, okay, you know what? Let's just let me just plow through this now. Why OFWs come home broke? Not all come home broke, actually, right? So actually, many have established a good retirement for themselves and have their kids finish college, right? But at the same issue is that at the same time, we are looking at those people na yung mga Filipino na who go back home. They live like a millionaire for a few months, even years. But eventually, they all end up being, broke. No money. Wala ng pera. Mahirap na ulit. Well, it's basically, achieving and accumulating wealth and slowly losing it all again. So why is that? Why Filipinos from abroad come back home, and, this is the case for most of them. So let's delve into it. But before we start to talk about the why, we need to first understand what is the meaning of true wealth, or ang tunay na kayamanan. Sa religion, merong tunay na kayamanan na galing sa Diyos. At sa buhay natin ay meron din tayong tunay na kayamanan tulad ng pamilya, edukasyon. Pero pinag-uusapan talaga natin ngayon ay yung financial, yung pera, yung asset, your financial asset. So, what does it really mean to be wealthy? I'm gonna read this forward part ng book. This is not what do you call this? It's not sponsored, pero I've read this book before, and it really helped me during my early years, before I got married, and during my early stage sa marriage, to be able to build wealth on whatever income I was on, and at the same time, I'm reading the thing. Okay, hold on. So, yung book, it's called Kaya Mo Pinoy, 12 Steps to Build Wealth on Any Income. Ang practical na gabay ng ordinaryong Pinoy sa tamang paghahawak at pagpalago ng pera. Ito ay written by Alvin T. Tabanyag, RFP. I would suggest you guys read this sa mga Pinoy. It's really easy read, and it was such a big help. Like, yung aking itong book na ito, it's like, marami, parang you could tell na it's really used. Because I keep opening this book back and forth. And then I made my wife read it too at the same time. So, we were both at the same page, and we both knew where we're going forward. So, it was good. It's not sponsored, guys, but I think this book could help almost everybody. Especially sa ating Filipino community, because it was written by Filipino registered financial planner. So he knows what he's talking about. So let me read yung kanyang first part. What it means to be wealthy. Now, would you be able to recognize a rich person just by looking at him? Now, you would say probably yes. And most people can easily imagine how a wealthy person would look like, where he or she is wearing fine clothing and expensive jewelry. They drive a nice car, Lamborghini and all that. They own a big house, eats at a fancy restaurant. They go on vacation abroad and hang out with, famous and powerful people in the society. Well, kadalasan, mayaman nga ang mga ganitong klaseng tao. But not all of them are. That's the key. Some of them could be experiencing financial difficulties just like many ordinary Filipinos. Marami ang mukhang mayaman lang o rich ang arrival. Pero naghihirap din pala sa pera katulad ng maraming Pinoy. So there are also people who can afford extravagant lifestyle only because they are earning well in their present job or in their business. But once they lose their job or their business fails, they cannot continue their lavish way of life and may be forced to live simply or even poorly. So, hindi may tuturing na tunay na mayaman ang mga ganitong tao. You are truly wealthy only if you can continue to live comfortably the lifestyle you desire, even if you never work another day in your life. So in other words, you are wealthy if you can retire in comfort permanently. And this is what we call true financial wealth. So, simply saying that is true na most people would show off having expensive materials does not equate to rich, right? And I've learned that through the years when we've dealt with most people where they like to flamboyantly show off, but then when we talk to them, they're sad, they're close to depression, there's like marital problems, and it always involves money. They're short, or they're in debt, or they lost like thousands because of bad investment, or they got scammed, all of this. And so you guys should understand that Just because somebody looks mayaman doesn't mean that they're mayaman financially wise. Okay, so now that we know what it means to be truly wealthy, let's get into why OFWs become broke when they get back home. Okay, number one is poor spending habits. Okay? So, kadamihan sa mga Pinoy, bibili ng bagong bag, damit, sapatos. Kahit na yung huling binili nila, isang beses lang nilang nagamit or dalawang, or yung iba nga dyan hindi pa nila nagamit, nakatambak lang sa bahay. So, these things, you gotta understand that maraming taong mahilig gumastos just because naiingit lang sila without actually understanding that they don't need it. It's such a waste of money. And then in regards to that, number two is the lack of income. Right? They're spending more when there's no money coming in. And that's already a negative towards, basically gumagamit sila ng credit card. So that's already a bad habit of doing things. You gotta understand, guys, na you gotta base everything on how much you're making income-wise, and at the same time, you need to understand yung balance ng life. So if you think you'd want a Louis Vuitton bag, okay? At the same time, if you're a guy, you want Jordan shoes, all right? You gotta make a choice whether you can afford it now or can you afford it later. So you don't have to buy it now if you can afford it later. And at the same time, you can have a Louis Vuitton bag, but doesn't have to be the most expensive one, right? So be smart, guys. Be smart, because the money that comes in has a big impact on you guys losing money. Now, and then here it comes. Number three, there's pressure from family and friends. Okay, so now nakauwi ka na, or let's say nasa abroad ka pa, right? Nasa abroad ka pa, sinusuportahan mo ang nanay mo, tatay mo, pinag-aaral mo yung mga kapatid mo, pinag-aaral mo yung pamangkin mo, tinutulungan mo yung iba mong kamag-anak kasi may sakit sila, ikaw lang yung income earner. So, you guys gotta understand at the same time na just because ikaw lang ang sumusuporta doesn't mean that you have to support all of everybody. Because it's unfair for you at the same time that everybody is actually kahit na sabihin mo mahirap ang buhay sa Pilipinas, they can do something. Everybody can do something, but they choose not to do anything. And that's unfair for the person who's actually working so hard, trying to find giving a better life for everybody else, and they're all just sitting down with their lazy ass, not doing anything. I understand naman those people who cannot actually work, pero the people who are, strong enough to move, strong enough and smart enough to do something, and they still don't, they don't do anything, that's just being lazy, man. That's not cool. So, there's that pressure from family and friends na humingi ng pera pagka-uwi nila para pare, inuman tayo, libre mo kami dito, libre mo kami doon. Panay ang labas nila, kain sa labas, punta dito, punta doon. I understand, Filipino ako, right? So at the same time, when I go home, I like to travel with, my extended family. So it's understandable in the first month or two. Pero in the long run, you also gotta understand, number one, poor spending habits. Just because you want to take out your family, does not mean that you should be spending X amount just to please everyone. You don't have to please everyone. You can, they can be mad at you, but it's your money, not theirs, that you're going to be spending. That's what you got to understand, guys. So, pressure from family and friends is one of those things that OFWs have an issue with when they get home. Okay, let's move on to number 4, and that is the procrastination and yung bahala na attitude. So then let's say you early on you get back home. You're still able to work. You're not yet in the retiring age. You're back in the Philippines. The thing is, some of them tamad na, like tinamad na sila. They show off here in the Philippines and everything else, and then suddenly wala ng pera. So wala na, naging ugali na nila yung parang bahala na. Tignan lang natin kung makakuha ako ng trabaho dyan, ganito ganyan. And then eventually umupo na lang sila sa puwitan nila, naghihintay, inom dito, inom dyan, hanggang sa maubos na yung pera na dala nila sa Pilipinas. Pero kung tutusin, kaya pa nilang magtrabaho. Kaya pa naman siguro nilang maghanap buhay ng business or anything else. Pero they choose not to, because I think some of them, they find na parang they've done their job, they've done their duty. But then that's just laziness, guys. Life does not stop. It moves forward and it just doesn't stop. So, ang gastusin sa buhay, hindi tumitigil. So yung income mo, it shouldn't stop too. So when you guys get back home, don't think na tapos na ang buhay ninyo, na tapos na paghahanap buhay. No. Your income should be continuous. Whatever you save is the one that you need to use. But at the same time, you guys gotta be more smart on how, you guys have to make sure na hindi kayo nag-procrastinate kung if you guys understand na kailangan nang magtrabaho ulit, or kailangan bago mawala yung pera, makahanap na ng bagong trabaho, or nang makapagsimula na ng bagong business. Okay? So, and then here's the biggest thing kung saan or kung bakit ang mga Filipino or mga OFW ay nagiging mahirap sa pag-uwi sa Pilipinas. And number 5, which kind of like has something to do with number 4, is the low financial IQ or the lack of self-confidence. So when we talk about this, a lot of Filipinos don't want to talk about their finances, don't want to think about budgeting. They don't want to plan to think about yung pera sa kinabukasan. Like I said, sa number 4, meron na sila yung bahala na attitude. Pagtanda ko, bahala na. Kung wala akong makuha sa mga anak ko, okay na. Ganun. That's a wrong way of thinking. Number 1. And that's how you differentiate the poor from the rich. When I say poor, guys, it's, poor is a mentality. Just like Dave Chappelle said. Poor is a mentality. A person is broke. That's financially. Because you being broke means that you can still, if you're not poor mentally, if you're smart mentally, you being broke can turn it into you having money, right? Pwede kang maghanap ng solusyon sa pagiging walang pera mo, basically. Yun lang yun. So, alam ko maraming tao ang ang financial IQ nila mababa. That's why yung iba dyan, na-scam. Yung iba dyan, kala nila tama yung ginagawa nila sa pera nila. Pero marami ang mali. So, at the same time, yung iba gusto nilang magkaroon nga ng financial learnings or ideas, pero nahihiya sila. Kaya yung iba, imbis na makapag-usap sa mga financial planner sa bangko, ayaw nila kasi kinakatakot nila magmumukha silang tanga. But here's the thing, guys. You need to be progressive in your life. Kasi, like I said, life doesn't stop. And as a person, we don't stop learning. Just because nakatapos ka na ng high school, nakatapos ka na ng college, do you think you stop learning? No. Sa tingin mo ba sa trabaho mo, wala ka na ibang natututunan? Diba, pag nakikipag-usap tayo sa ibang mga katrabaho natin, may natutunan na tayong bago sa mga boss natin, pag tinuturuan nila tayo ng paano gawin yung trabaho natin efficiently. Yung mga matitino nga, you guys are learning more and more, right? Yung experience nyo sa buhay nyo at the same time, kung saan kayo nagkamali, saan kayo tumatama, those things, you're learning. So why don't you learn at the same time things in the financial realm where you could be better so that your life could be better in the long run? Okay? So, these are the reasons, these 5 ones are the main reasons why Filipinos come back home and they still end up like they never work overseas, or they end up like they never made money at all, right? Sa pag-aayos ng buhay, importante na malaman ang ating pagkakamali, right? Kung ano ang ating kahinaan. Kaya dapat malaman nyo ito kung saan kayo saan ang problema ninyo, dahil dito natin masisimulan kung paano natin maayos at matitignan kung paano natin aayusin ang ating buhay financially. So, now that we know what the reasons are for being broke, now let's talk about fixing it. Alright, so number 1, to start, you gotta have a SMART goal. A realistic, achievable goal. Yun ay kung saan para bang, okay, number 1, isipin mo muna kung anong kailangan mo or anong gusto mong gawin para sa iyong buhay. Let's say, pag uwi mo, gusto mong, or bago ka umuwi, at least sabihin mo na, okay, may anak na ako, right? Gusto ko yung anak ko makapag-college, matapos ng college. Okay, great. So, that's a realistic and that's an achievable goal, right? Now, the thing is, you gotta also write down how to accomplish the goal, and then how long are you gonna do it, and when is it going to be done, So then, isipin natin, right? So, how old your kid is, you gotta see, alright, so my kid is this age, and so let's assess maybe 20 years. Sabihin na natin, 20 years, my son or my daughter will be in college, right? So, I need maybe this X amount, whatever yung iniisip nyo. So then, you gotta also understand where your milestones are going to be. Milestones, what needs to be achieved in, let's say, in 1 year. In 1 year, you need to make X amount. So that is your goal. Let's say, in a year, ang gusto nyo mabuo is 10,000. So, 10,000 or maybe sabihin natin liitan na lang natin, 5,000. So, sa 12 months, I know this is more like um, maliit yung sinasabi kong number only because I'm in Canada and I think I'm basing it on Canadian money. Pero for you guys in the Philippines, if you guys are listening there na make your own number. I'm not really familiar kasi I never did college there. Pero let's say, okay, sabihin na lang natin 10,000 pesos. Okay, so 10,000 pesos, i-divide natin yun ng 12. That should be about 833 pesos per month. Okay? So, now that you know how much you need to save, then you know where to go. Right? You know where, what you need to do. Okay? So then, let's say, that's too much, that's too expensive. Then you also understand that you cannot achieve that X amount. But it also means that you know where you are financially, right? So then you can make adjustments, right? Sabi mo, okay, I can't make, the 800, maybe 600. Okay, still not bad. But at least at the same time, you have a goal where you have to achieve it every year and then save it so that when the year comes for you to give your son or daughter yung kanilang, anak, ito lang ang na-save ko para sa college mo. Okay? You know what? That amount is already a big deal when it comes to, finances. Kasi you'd rather have that amount ng college nila rather than nothing at all. Would you rather say, anak, ito na yung naipong kong pera para sa college mo? Or would you rather want to say, anak, sorry, wala akong pambayad sa college mo? Right? Is that, which one is better? Which one is better for you and for your kids? I would say, obviously, you would rather give something for your kids. Now, that is a smart goal. You guys need to make smart goals for your future, for whosever future that you want to have. Okay. Now, number 2, you need to know where you are budget wise. What do you have financially? So when I say budget wise, okay, how much is your income? So what's in your income? How much are you making per month? How much are you making per paycheck? How much are you making per year? And at the same time, how much is your expenses monthly? How much is your expenses yearly? At the same time, what are your assets? What are your liabilities? Ano yung mga yun? Right? Naintindihan nyo ba yun? Some of you guys like, I heard that before, but I don't know actually what it is. Well, assets, let me kung anong asset. Okay, before let's start with income first. Okay, so what is income? Income is basically money coming in to your bank, into your wallet. Okay, income could be anything from your job, your business, or sa mga YouTuber, yung kanilang basically sponsored payment, right? At the same time, meron tayong tinatawag na passive income. Passive income is basically where you're making money passively, yung kumikita ka nang you're not working for it. That includes money making from investments. So you invest money and monthly or yearly you get paid from it, and that's what we call passive income. Now, next is the expenses. Expenses, basically, alam nyo na yan. Diyan tayo magaling. Expenditures, right? Mga pinaggagastusan natin. Now, meron tayong tinatawag nating monthly expenses that incomes that equates to like electricity bills, right? Electric bills, phone bills, water bills, rent. Ano pa ba? you have many other expenses. Katulad din ng pagbabayad ng sasakyan. And at the same time, expenses sa mga grocery, gamit ng bata, pagkain, o yung mga kamot, expenses din yan. Lalo na yung may mga maintenance. Now, at the same time, ano ba ang assets? Assets are basically things that you own or you have na may value. Value in terms of financial value. So, I'll give you an example. So, when it comes to assets, there are properties. Yung mga property na yan, yung mga bahay, houses, condos, vehicles, maybe building or a lot, lupa, gold, silver, meron ba kayong mga stones or gems katulad ng mga wedding rings, valuable artworks, yung mga ari-arian ng mga lolo nyo, ganun. At the same time, money, cash equivalent, yung mga nasa checking account nyo, yun ang asset. Savings account, magkano laman yan. Meron kayong mga COD or Certificate of Deposit, yung mga bumibili ng stocks, shares, bonds, those are investments. So those are what we call assets. And the more you have, the better it is for you financially. So then what naman ang kabaligtaran nun? Liabilities. Okay, so ano ba ang liabilities? Well, basically it's something that you owe, right? Like utang. So number one, for most people, it'll be credit cards. That's the biggest liability that most people have, right? Second is anything that you owe with your salary, your wages, right? At the same time, yung ating sasakyan at yung ating bahay. So, kung isipin nyo, it's an asset at the same time it's a liability. When does it become okay? Number one, it's a liability if you're still paying off your car, right? You're paying off your car is still a liability because that means you still owe whoever owns you bought it from money. So then it's a liability when the bank sees it. When does it become an asset? Well, basically, pag nabayaran mo na. Ibig sabihin nun, meron na siyang value on its own pag nabayaran na. But here's my issue with vehicles, guys. Never invest too much on a vehicle kasi it's always yung value ng sasakyan na binabayaran mo, it always depreciates as soon as it gets out of the dealership. Okay? Number one yan. Let's say ang sasakyan mo ay nasa 200,000. By the time that it leaves yung sa garage or whatever, nababawasan na yung value niyan. So let's say it's 5 years to pay. And then in 5 years to pay, nabayaran mo na yung 200,000. Sa tingin mo magkano na yung value nun? Maybe in 5 years it's now worth half of that. Now it's only worth 100,000. Do you guys see? You paid 200, and if you actually sell it back, it's only worth 100,000. Pero in many ways, I'm not saying it's actually very bad because it's still very useful for you, right? It's a very useful asset where it takes you from point A to point B. But that's what I'm saying. When it comes to vehicles, huwag kayo masyadong pasikat. Nagpapasikat kayo for no reason. Number one, lalo na yung mga BM and Mercedes na yan. It's nice to have them. They're great. They're very comfortable. I think you should only get those once you're actually very comfortable na. Pero if you're not really comfortable financially yet, just try to get a good functioning vehicle. Kasi sipin mo magkano ang paggawa pag may nasira sa Mercedes compare mo sa Toyota. Magkano oil change para sa Toyota compare mo sa Mercedes-Benz or BMWs. 'Di ba? Lugi ka kaagad monthly wise. And then, at the same time, yung pagbabayad mo, monthly para doon lang sa sasakyan na yun. Tapos ang makukuha mo, katiting. So, that's what I'm saying. Those, do some smart goals, smart investments. And then, at the same time, yung bahay. Bahay, uutangin mo muna yan. Right? Nobody gets to pay it off unless you're super rich. So, pag meron kang mortgage, number one, hanggat hindi pa na nababayaran yan, liability siya. Second, habang binabayaran mo siya, this is why always, property is always better. Because once you pay off something, yung pera na nilagay mo doon, pera mo yun. Hindi mawawala yung value ng bahay. At the same time, ang mga bahay, hindi masyadong bumababa ang kanilang value. Walang bahay na sinabi mong bumagsak tapos naging kalahati lang yung presyo nila. Right? For the most part, lahat ng property, tumataas ang value. So, kung bumili ka ng 1 million na bahay, in X amount of years, pwede mo ibenta yun ng 1.2, 1.3, then, so on and so forth. Tumataas ang value. At yung nilalagay mong pera doon, naiipon yun. Kaya pag binenta mo, makukuha mo yung pera na nilagay mo at yung value niya at that moment plus yung income na makukuha mo dahil ang binayaran mo, let's say ang binayaran mo lang is 1 million. Pero nung binenta mo siya 1.2 at ang nabayaran mo na ay 500,000. So yung 500,000 makukuha mo yun plus yung 200,000 na tumaas dun sa increase ng value ng bahay. So 700 ka agad na nasa bulsa mo. Right? Yung 500,000 na matitira, syempre ibabayad mo yun dun sa bangko. Right? So malaki ka agad ang resulta when it comes to a house. So, like I said, ang house, it could be both at the same time an asset and a liability. Kasi whatever you put in there, yung pera na nilalagay mo nagiging asset siya kaagad at yung mga utang mo sa bahay, it's still a liability. So, the more you pay it off, the more asset you have sa bahay. Now, number 3, okay? Creating a balanced budget. Now, most people know this na and they're doing it. They're doing it and the thing is for the most part, I think people tend to forget to do their budget. Here's the thing. You guys have to write it down. You have to do it monthly or at least bi-weekly. Do it during when your money comes in. So, kung ang paycheck mo ay twice a month or every 2 weeks or ang paycheck mo or ang salary mo ay every month, do your budget at the same time and write it down. Don't just write it down sa piece of paper, but write it down, in a book. In your budget book. Para alam mo kung ano yung nakikita mo. Alam mo kung nasaan yung pera na pupunta. So, number 1, you gotta understand yung triple S. Triple S, like triple O, is save, save, save. Okay? First, you have to save, and then you buy. First, you have to save before your expenses. First, you have to save before you spend anything else in this world, right? So how do we do that? Well, my technique, what I do is that whatever I make, I save about 1,000 Canadian, right? And then the rest is for all my expenses and everything else that I do. And then from there, okay, so let's say, okay, let's just do this as an example. So, whatever income I make, I save, sabi na nga natin 1,000. And then, I do my expenses, my bills, right? My phone, my what do you call this? My phone, my electricity, and my heat and hot water. Ganon. And then you budget it again for your future, like we talk about. What do you want? Well, I want a good retirement for my kids. All right. College fund for my kids. So you put money there again, and then you put money for your retirement, right? Savings. All right. What else? Kung ano pa man ang mga ano mo. Okay, well, I have insurance para sa bahay. Meron akong insurance sa car. Okay, great. So you put money there, put money there. Now whatever's left, okay, whatever is left is your budget that you can use for whatever you want to buy. Okay? So there, let's say, katiting na lang, right? Oh, okay. I only have like, a few $100 here na natira. Okay, so, and then you want to buy something mamahalin. Well, then, you don't have to spend that money yet. What you could do is also budget yourself to include expenses to go out. All right, so maybe in a month, meron akong pan-date. Meron akong 100 pesos, 100 Canadian dollar or, 1,000 pesos na pang-date. Something like that. Right? That's also going to be included to your income. So there you go. You have more places to split the money in. And then, like I said, kung ano man yung matira, i-save nyo yun na yung panggastos nyo na big purchase nyo. So let's say, I want to buy a new washing machine, ganon. Right? So, pag-ipunan nyo yun dun sa matitira ng pera. Okay? And then, yun na yung gagamitin nyo na pang gastos nyo. Pero at the same time, like I said, you don't deprive yourself from having happiness. So, like I said, pan-date nyo, date night na mag-asawa, panglabas nyo as a family day, Pasko na, maybe we should go out and see Christmas lights or whatever. I don't know what you guys do. But, magtabi kayo ng pera para doon. Okay? Like I said, save. At the same time, do a trial run. Right? It doesn't have to be whatever you wrote down is what you're gonna stick to. Life changes, right? Sometimes nadadagdagan ka ng expenses. Minsan nadadagdagan ka ng income. Tumaas ka ng I got promoted, tumaas yung income ko. Great. So then, you gotta change ulit yung budget mo. Maybe more to save now that you made more money. Or at the same time, pag dumami yung expenses mo, maybe you need to do tips to reduce your expenses. If you could rent instead of buying something, right? Handy tools like pahiram ako ng nyo, rather than buying your own, right? Sa energy, use cheaper energy efficient appliances kung bibili na kayo ng bago. Because katulad nung binili naming washer dryer, I had to make sure na mas mababa yung energy na ginagamit niya. So, and most appliances are like that now, right? Even microwaves. So, you gotta be smart in what you're gonna be spending on para in the long run, you're actually saving more money rather than spending more money. At the same time, a lot of people nowadays do yung mga takeout or yung delivery system. Now, you gotta understand, those delivery system, they charge you for a service fee plus tip. I don't know how much yung mga ganon, pero here sa Vancouver, I find like it's almost about close to $10, if you round it up. And for me, yung $10 na yun just to do those. Sometimes you'd rather do it your own. Pero here's the thing, you gotta be smart too. Like, if you know that you don't have food and you'd rather have it be brought to you, excuse me, So maybe you were outside already, go, ikaw na ang dumaan instead na ipa-deliver mo. At the same time, instead of having date nights, maybe you can, what do you call this? Make your own food. Make a food for your wife, make a food for your husband, and then, hey, let's go out. I'll take you out and we'll do a picnic instead. So then you're already outside enjoying yourselves, away from all the issues, whatever issues you guys have at home, like kids. And then enjoy yourself, right? Kasi may baon naman na kayo. So it's cheaper that way, and you're already enjoying each other's company. And then at the same time, shopping. I know COVID time, nobody's actually out to do any more shopping. Pero you need to maybe do a cap, like meron kayong limit. So for me, I like going to Facebook Marketplace. But at the same time, I don't buy them all. But if I do buy something, I gotta make sure na I only spend X amount in a week. Parang ganon. Parang bang, or in a month. Parang ganon na you're not gonna spend so much dun sa shopping mo just because you feel like you have to, right? Be smart in trying to lose that money. So, basically be cheap. Be cheap for your on yourself, but at the same time be smart, right? Okay, let's move on to tip number 4. All right, let's move to tip number 4 in increasing your income. All right. So here's the trick for you guys. I learned this by reading so many books on, reading books on finances, in bettering your life, in how to get rich. All of those books, all of them, I found the secret into becoming rich is simply increasing your income. That's it. And the biggest issue is how, right? The biggest issue is how. Well, if you think about it sa basketball, how do you win a game sa basketball? It's simply having more score. But the hardest part is, how do you score when you have 5 against 5, right? So here's the thing for increasing your income. Okay. Number 1, look for a better job. If you think yung trabaho mo is not supplying with your skill set, then you could ask for a raise. Okay, number 1, I guess number 1 should be asking for a raise. So let's say you think you are a very highly efficient person, you're doing more than what you got hired for, then ask for a raise. And don't be shy. You gotta learn how not to be shy. And never ever say na, pag tinanong ka na ng employer mo, sabihin, how much do you want? Sabihin mo, I don't know, whatever you want or whatever you can. Don't say that. What if the person says, okay, well, itataas kita ng 50 cents US? What is that? Is that the value that you're actually looking for? So, in terms of asking, you guys do some research on how to do it na lang. Kasi it's actually very simple how to do it. It's just simply asking the correct way in a very respectable way. And at the same time, when you ask for it, ask for a higher than what you think you should be getting for. Because they're gonna say, always go higher than what you think you're actually looking for. Kasi if they say yes, that means they have the budget to give you that one. Right? What did I get there? I got a notification there. So, let's say, sabi mo, okay, I want an increase of, let's use a US money. I want an increase of $200, right? and they say, oh, I can't afford 200. Or let's say, oh, let's say ang value mo, ang gusto mong value is 100 lang. Okay? Let's say ang value na gusto mong itaas is 100 lang. And then you say 200. So then the person, your employer said, okay, sure, 200. We can do 200. Isn't that great? Na imbis na 100 lang yung nakuha mo, 200 ang in-increase sa'yo. Just because they find that you express yourself na, hey, I'm doing what I'm told to do, and I'm actually doing much more every other day or every day. And I think I'm undervalued. Sabihin mo lang na ganun. And I just want to have an increase of maybe $200. And then if they say yes, great. If no, and then sabihin nila, you know what? No, 200 is too much. Maybe 50 US. And then you bargain again. It's like, maybe we can meet in the middle, $100. They could say yes, they could say no. And then if they say yes, still great. Because that's the one that you wanted, right? Yun ang gusto mo, $100 na increase. Why not? Right? Yun na yun eh. Yun na yung benchmark mo. If they still say no, you can still bargain for, hey, maybe $75, $50. The thing is, at the end of the day, if you got an increase, you got an increase. Right? You got an increase in, you got a raise in your income. So that's already a plus. Now, like I said, if you think they're not good, they're not a good company, they're not a good employer, you can always look for another job. Don't undervalue yourself. There's a lot more other companies out there. There's so many other companies that are looking for good employees. And if you know that you're a good employee, go look for another one. Huwag kayo nasasanay na yung, dito na ako, ito lang alam ko, blah, blah, blah. No, that's, more actually. Because you have an experience there already. You're just afraid. You're just scared. That's all you're telling me. If you tell me na, sanay na ako dito, ito lang ang gusto ko. No, you're just scared. And don't be scared. Okay? Because how did you get there at the same time? How did you get to where you are now? Right? It just means that you can actually go somewhere else. Okay? Now, so go look for a better job. Now, if you think na you're stuck, then I suggest for everybody to study for a better career. Okay? It may not be the thing when you're already old. Yes, I get it. But there are other things that you guys can study for na vocational lang. It doesn't have to be like full on 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. No, it could be just like a 6-month certificate course, or even just a what do you call this? Like for me, I did a photography thing. I didn't go like a full-time school. I did those part-time, and it wasn't a very long study. And for me, is now for me, that which is I'm gonna go to is do a side business. Now for me, I studied for a better career, but at the same time, I studied for a better opportunity, right? So then I did that to do as my side business. So for you guys, at the same time, to increase your income, do a side business. So if you guys know how to cook, just like most Filipinos do, luto ka, meron ako embutido, embutido ko is $10, ganun, or whatever, kung magkano man ang value ng pagkain ko, nasa man kayo sa mundo. So, do a side business, okay? Or sabi niyo, ako, handyman ako. Sabado linggo, pwede ako mag-handyman sa bahay niyo, ganito, ganyan. So, that's already an extra income that you can use, right? And don't forget, guys, also at the same time, invest. Invest. When it comes to investment, don't be scared. Go to your bank. Go look for a Filipino person if you want, para mas comfortable kayo makipag-usap. Kasi kung nahihirapan kayo mag-English or kung ano man kung saan man kayo sa bansa nyo, Spanish, French, go look for somebody that, could understand you. You feel much more comfortable talking to them. Go and talk to them. Tell them, hey, I want to invest in this. Maybe even in insurance. There's also investments there. Those investments, when they come back, you get an extra income already. Okay, guys? All right. So let's finish off with number 5, with planning for the future. That's number 5. Okay, and this is very important because there are many financial challenges coming your way, and what you want is a comfortable retirement, right? Because that's what we are talking about basically, right? A comfortable retirement para sa mga OFW na uuwi na sa Pilipinas. So, to be able to make sure yung financial challenges nyo covered, you guys gotta go buy a life insurance. Sa health nyo, health insurance. Sa bahay nyo, home insurance. Don't be scared when buying insurance, guys. Alam kong merong negative connotation para sa mga Filipino when it comes to insurance, but you guys have to understand that insurance is basically coverage for something that you would lose. You may be paying it now na parang nawawalan ako ng pera tapos hindi ko naman magagamit. Well, simply because you don't understand it more completely. So, I'm not saying to buy life insurance or health insurance right off the bat. Para bang mamamalengke muna kayo. Di ba? Pag pupunta kayo sa palengke, punta muna kayo doon sa isang tendera. Tingin ng isda. Mukhang maganda yung isda dito. Tapos, lakad ka ulit. Titignan mo ulit yung isang isda. Tapos, punta ka dun sa suki mo. Kukompare mo, di ba? Kung sino dun sa kanila, kung magkano yung benta, kung gaano ka-fresh yung isda. Then, babalikan mo yung kung saan mo yung gusto. Okay? Same thing, pag kukuha kayo ng insurance. Huwag lang kayong basta-basta, may nag-offer sa'yo. You say, okay, I'm actually shopping for different insurance. Maybe I'll see you guys again kung nagustuhan ko yung sa inyo compared to the others. Okay? It's very important na yung life insurance, number 1 for me. Kasi if you guys understand, life insurance basically your death insurance. Kung ikaw may life insurance, pag namatay ka, hopefully, knock on wood, it's not gonna happen. But if it does, you don't want to leave your family with utang. Is that what you want for your family? Na mawala ka sa mundong ito at magkaroon silang sasalo ng utang mo? No, right? At the same time, pag namatay ka, wherever you are in this world, magbabayad ka pa rin ng tax. Tayo ng tax to. Walang katapusan. Patay ka na, magbabayad ka pa ng tax, isipin mo. Sa tingin mo sa nila kukunin yun? Well, wala naman silang pera kung whatever it is the issue is. Kung ano man ang sitwasyon nyo sa buhay, di ba? So, kung namatay ka ng maaga or whatever, at least meron kang may iwan na pambayad ng utang mo or panlibig mo at least, di ba? At kung let's say wala kang utang sa buhay, you did great in fixing yourself financially, well then yung pera na nung namatay ka, yun ang magiging pamana mo na yun sa mga anak mo. 'Di ba? Saan ka pa? Binabayaran mo yung value ng life insurance is actually mas mababa dun sa actually na makukuha mo na yung naipon na nababayaran mo, mas mababa yung binabayaran mo kaysa yung sa makukuha mo. Alright? So, kung ikaw ay namatay na maaga, meron kang iiwan sa mga anak mo. At the same time, pamana mo yon kung ikaw ay financially okay. Right? Health insurance. Health insurance. Let's say, ikaw ay nagtatrabaho pa, na-aksidente ka, nagkasakit ka. Okay? Saan ka kukuha ng pera mo? Na panggasto sa pang-araw-araw. Well, yan, dyan Diyan tutulong ang health insurance. Okay? Kailangan ikaw ang workhorse, di ba? Kailangan ikaw ay laging okay, lagi kang healthy, lagi kang gumagana. Paano papasok ang income kung wala nagtatrabaho? So, kung may nangyari sa'yo, number one, meron kang health insurance. So, meron pa rin perang papasok just in case you are unable to work anymore. And that's the key for health insurance. Obviously, it's expensive, but like I said dun sa number 3, create a balanced budget. So you have to take into consideration lahat ng mga insurance na papasok sa inyo. Same thing with the home insurance. Kasi yung bahay nyo, just in case anything happens, masunugan kayo or anything, pinagpagburan mo yung bahay mo, binili mo, and then suddenly mawawala lang. So there you go. Kung meron kang home insurance, it's safe, right? Kung nagkaroon ng fault, let's say nagkasakit ka, at the same time, hindi ka makapag-work, walang pambayad, meron kang insurance. Hindi mawawala yung bahay mo. Gusto mo ba nagkasakit ka, nabaldado ka na, and everything, tapos mawawala pa yung bahay mo? Tapos wala ka pang pera na pampagamot, wala kang health insurance, wala kang home insurance. Right? Those things are important, guys. Yun lang ang makapag-cover sa inyo habang nabubuhay kayo at para sa family na iiwan nyo. Alright? Okay, so paano naman kayo pag nag-retire na kayo, buhay na buhay kayo, retirement? Well, kailangan meron ka ding retirement savings. Okay? Retirement savings, here sa Canada, we have yung tinatawag nilang RRSP. That's important, especially doon sa mga individuals na walang, yung mga self-employed. Because malaking tax break yun sa kanila, and at the same time, meron kang usable para sa first-time home buyer na pwede mong kunin yung pera na yun. So, at this second, pension plan. Yun sa mga taong nagwo-work sa government, meron na silang pension. At the same time, dito sa, I think for the most part, meron mga old age pension, right? Pero maliit lang yung mga yan. So, you gotta also add your retirement income. And here comes into play na kung saan dapat, by the time na nag-retire ka, iisipin mo pa rin na, like I said kanina, sa simula, ang gastusin hindi nawawala. Expenses is always gonna come, but your income is gonna stop, or your income is not gonna match. So then, before you retire, you should be able to find something na kung saan meron ka pa rin income. For my parents, I'm really happy that they're actually buying rental properties because they're basically retired. And they're only getting so much from the government, and it's not enough. Seriously, it's not enough just for them, income-wise. And they're not even living a lavish lifestyle. But then at the same time, it's not even enough for them to say na parang I'll be living in a comfortable retirement. Pero they were smart enough to invest, to buy properties. So now they have an income while they're retired. So those are smart things to do. And I hope you guys do the same thing. And you guys don't forget to be ready for your retirement. Okay? Alright, so let's recap. So what did we learn today? That most people, when they OFWs, when they go back home, they end up with nothing. They end up being broke. So then you gotta be smart about it. Learn that you need to have a better future, better retirement for yourself. So number 1, again, let's recap. You gotta have a smart goal, a realistic goal, an achievable goal. Write it down, how to accomplish it, create milestones, what needs to be achieved in your year, 5 years or so. Okay. Number 2, where you are, you need to understand where you are budget wise. You need to know what you have financially. Okay. What is how much are you making? How much is your income? How much are your expenses? What are your assets? What are your liabilities? Okay. Number 3, create a balanced budget. So once you know all of those things, budget yourself. Don't forget the triple S. Save, save, save. Save first before you buy. Okay. And do some smart spending. And always write it down. Write things down is your key into understanding and knowing yourself, especially for this financial thing. And number 4, increase your income. Increase your income. Don't be scared to ask for a raise. If not, look for a job. If not, study for a better career. Create a side business. Katulad ng mga YouTubers yan. And invest. Be smart in doing the investment. Do your research. Number 5 is your plan for your future. Okay? How would you have a comfortable retirement? How would you avoid financial challenges? Number 1, life insurance, your health insurance, your home insurance. Have a retirement savings fund. Make sure you have enough pension plan, and create a retirement income. All right, guys? So those are the things that I could share with you. And we're going to go to our next section. I know it's already, It's already an hour, almost and a half. All right, maybe we'll do a 2 questions, and then we'll answer that one. Okay, we're going to do the question and answer. But for now, we're going to go with internet questions. All right, let's see. How can I test if my son is gay? Nope. Okay, not going to answer that one. Can I tell by the smell of my husband's gas if he has been cheating? Let me see. Cheating. Okay. I think if the smell of the gas is sweet, I think he's cheating. But if it's more salty, I think that's just him being with you. What else? I was bitten by a turtle when I was a young lad. Can I still drink orange juice? No, I don't think so. The turtle can basically make your penis small. So then you drinking orange juice has got nothing to do with your penis being small. Anyways, that's it for today, guys. All I can say is always take care of your health, mentally, physically, and take care of your family and friends and your faith, especially in this COVID crazy pandemic time. And guys, thank you for listening. I guess next week I have no topic, so I'll just randomly just randomly just say, hey guys, we're gonna do this topic. But at least hopefully you guys enjoyed yung ating podcast for today. So I guess that's it, Pansit. I will check you guys out on the next podcast. Paalam!